Nice. Great shots. Great use of power positioning. And again, 2 perfects. And I think a lot of that comes from your power position, your angles that you're taking that are a little bit more unexpected. This was their best guy on their team, and you just perfected him. And you perfected their teammate like 5 seconds before that. A lot of that is due because you were up on the power position utilizing that.
Welcome back, everybody, to Road to Onyx. This is Spear. We're going to be having our first coaching session today with my buddy Squatch. He's a quality Onyx player, and he carries us every single time we play. So I hope you learned something. I know I learned a lot about myself. So enjoy.
All right, the mighty Spear of Atua. You'd mentioned some coaching. I figured this might be a good way to do it. I have for you 2 different maps both on Solitude, both strongholds. So these are both against generally the same level of enemy. And one of the big themes I think you should watch for on both of these games is general positioning, where you were choosing to go, the routes you were taking, and prioritization of objectives, which you are prioritizing objectives, which is good, but I would argue sometimes over prioritizing objectives before getting map control first. So let's start off with this first game, which I think is a better game, and then we'll contrast that with a worse game. Both of these games were only a few games apart, so same day, nearly same level of enemies. I think the big issue and what lost us the second game was both yours and overall the whole team's positioning. So let's see how you open up this first game.
And hold 2 zones to score.
So it looks like they're giving us camo for free. Should always take those.
Engage. Stronghold Alpha lost.
Enemy team scoring.
All right, I think it's totally okay to utilize camo like this.
Stronghold Alpha is on.
Taking good fights.
Prepare a gunfire.
Playing relatively safe. No major notes there. I think you played camo fairly well. Looking in the right direction, we have most map control. Now we're expecting enemies to our right here. Good team shot, good damage. This is a good opening. I think we've got a lot of map control here. We give them some split spawns, and we kind of mess this up. This is not all on you. I think we overextend a little bit here. Yep, overextend a little bit too much into A after Trevor goes down, who's Black Forge. We probably would have wanted to just bail on this fight and just wrap left. If you really wanted to, you could jump up to, I guess I can draw here, up to Attic and peek them from window. But a little bit of an overextend happens to everybody. But it does end up getting us killed.
Scoring.
I like that you recognize that you're at a disadvantage in this fight and you get to cover. But I don't like that mid-fight grenade. So ideally, if you start to be losing in a fight, you want to get to cover first and then throw the defensive grenade in case he chases you. And not try to just throw the grenade in the middle of a fight. I even like that repeak. I think that's totally fine, especially with backup right there. Here, I would be wanting you to push this guy right here and not capturing A. But clearly, you should be able to hear that this guy's in a fight right now. He's possibly even weak. I'd rather have you just jumping over this ledge and shooting him. You don't have to even drop down. You could just jump on the ledge and shoot down on him. But you'll see, since you prioritize just taking A first, then you kind of don't know where he's at. He's no longer in a fight. And we end up losing this fight. And they just cap A right back anyway.
Enemy team scoring.
Just kind of a messy fight. One big theme I want you to be thinking about across both of these games is think of B on this map as a death pit. So You want to be minimizing your time down there as much as possible, and we'll show that more in the second game. I like you jumping up into this power position, get a good view of the map. Right, that's exactly what we want to see. That's the great use of power position. You can get those cross shots, even though you don't get the kill, it softens them up for me, who I'm right here, and I can just come walking in and clean this guy up. That's exactly what you want to do with power positions.
Enemy has captured Alpha.
Here, okay, yeah, issue. You see people are capping A. We see two teammates. You obviously don't see this guy when you're playing in the moment, but you know that they're capping B. Instead of you jumping out in like this and just diving in, I would have liked to see you stay on this little ramp that you just jumped off of and just be shooting at them from up there. But you're basically giving up like a little bit of a power position. You're giving up an advantage just to kind of rush in and try to clear them out of B. And you end up getting killed for it. When you could have just been up there taking pot shots at him. Here's another situation where I don't think you should have just pushed in like this. You get these double kills, which is good, and then kind of try to keep pushing over into enemy lines. You could have done just as much probably if you'd backed off, or at least not pushed forward so much. But it kind of worked out here. You got the double kill. Almost a triple. Another dive out that I don't think is necessary. When you see someone capping B, you don't always have to just rush in and either like stop them from capping it. You can just put in some damage, and if we have map control, then teammates can help you do some damage, but you don't need to rush in like that. See? That's exactly kind of what you want to do. Good job staying alive. And good pressure. Alright, show me what you can do with this snipe. And you take that guy's head clean off. So, nice shot there. Love that. I would say just get out of B here, even if they're in it. Just fall back a little bit. You've got Josh up here fighting in it. That's kind of just a 50-50 gunfight that you lose. It's okay to take that, but maybe, especially when that guy, you miss your first two shots, you could have just fallen back off, done a little bit of damage, and fallen back off that ledge. Make that guy chase you if he wants the kill. Okay, here I'm seeing tunnel vision on attic. Do I have this selected? I'm seeing tunnel vision up here when more than likely, like 90% of the time, enemies in on Solitude in gold, plat, silver, even up to like low onyx and diamond, you're going to see 90% of the enemies pushing through here. And you see that. You see 1, 2, 3 guys. This is generally where I would look first, even though I know you just saw a guy up on attic. I would at least be starting to throw some preemptive nades this way, because more than likely they're going to be coming. We don't have any teammates over there, so they're not blocking spawns, but you'll see. You'll see a bunch of guys start pushing you through here. But just some tunnel vision there. I would have been prioritizing that hallway over the attic. And if you're really worried about the attic, then yeah, just start throwing some preemptive grenades to slow down any guys that would be pushing you through that hallway. Almost got the triple.
Nearing victory.
This I have a problem with. I know you're probably going for the triple. I think it might be past time now. But this is just a bad reach-out. Once you fell back, I would just continue looping back around to your behind and left, and either relocate or just wait till your shields come back before you reach out. A little bit of a bad reach out here that gets you killed.
Enemy team scoring. Victory.
And we get the win there. Okay, I'll skip forward into the next game. This one is a little bit more rough. And I want to make sure that you are paying attention to positioning. And I think the broad theme on this game is that we are fighting way too much for B, which is a horrible position to fight for, especially on this map. And you'll see why. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's the weakest position on the map. And we're just like Soviet Union style, throwing bodies at it almost this whole game. Let's see how our opening strat looks like here. Kind of same thing, almost a free camo again. All right, so that it ended up working out there, but I would have rather like seen you prioritize your life there, and that guy should have killed you, basically. Getting away with camo would be more important. So again, even though you get the kill and it works out, you get that 5-shot kill, really nice. Probably the smarter thing to do would have just been when you see that guy shooting at you, just drop, try to cut some angles, cut some corners, and get your camo up and just hide. But again, it worked out here. Sometimes that happens, and awesome.
Team scoring.
Good flank here. Again, I'm seeing a lot of really smart camo play from you. It's exactly what you want to do. Just you can kind of choose whatever fights you want. That's the beauty of camo. You can just run around middle. Okay, here, I think you know what you're going to do. You have camo. You have a relative power position to them. In fact, you see one guy right here. So what do you think you're going to do? You're probably, like, again, by the last game, you're just going to go dive in. That's probably not what you want to do. What you should do is just linger up here and shoot down on these guys like fish in a barrel. They're in the bad position. You were in the strong position. By you jumping in, you're basically giving up your strong position. Let's see what you do. And we're all down here, all of our team. That's bad on all of us. Worst spot on the map to be. Okay, so there, let's go back a little bit and see what you do off spawn. And see kind of why this is a little bit of an issue. So you spawn up. There's a team fight happening off to your left. Right, Josh is fighting, I'm fighting up here, Trevor's running in here. Instead of you helping, you kind of just run right by and go cap A. Like you get laser eyes on the OBJ, it's free. So in your mind, you're probably just thinking, let me just take it. To me, the team fight happening off to your left is more important. And I would have rather seen you, at least while you're moving this way, be looking over here. See if you can get any damage out and help on the team fight. But we ended up losing the team fight. I don't know if you would have looked. Maybe, I don't know if that would have changed that or anything. But at least looking that way and seeing if you can do some damage over in that direction before going to the OBJ would have been valuable.
Lost the lead.
Okay, I like everything about that peek except for the grenade. When you're peeking someone with a grenade like this, you kind of just want to be zoomed in and make sure that you're descoping them, not throwing grenades. If you have to throw a grenade, throw it while you're behind cover and like try to bounce it off a wall or something. But you throwing that grenade ends up getting you killed because it lets him line up the shot on you. All right, so you picked up a thruster there and you forgot to use it. Let's watch that again real quick. It may or may not have turned around this fight. This guy used some pretty good positioning. It shows an angle that's a little bit more uncommon, so it kind of threw you off. But you had a thruster here that you could have used. It may have saved you or it may not have, but I would have loved to see you at least try using it here.
The lead.
All right, so you're overextending a little bit. Again, this guy is kind of running around frantically around B. You don't have to really push this right now. You can kind of just linger and get some elevation. Look into B, because he's probably going to expose himself because he's panicked. But this is a little bit of a bad overextend. I know you're just pushing a guy that's weak, trying to get a free kill, but you end up walking into enemy territory where their guys with power positions can just kind of shoot down on you for free.
lost the lead.
Active cam.
All right, so this is a good kill that you get on this guy. I think you get like a 5-shot or I forget, but you end up killing this guy. I do think you're sprinting too much. One thing about sprinting in this game is you're only getting, I looked it up, it's only like an 8% speed boost when you're sprinting. So there's not much point in sprinting all that much. In this case, you kind of catch him just because he's throwing the grenade. But if he had his gun up, he probably would have had the first or even second shot on you because you were sprinting. But you get this kill. Nice job.
Perforated.
I would just try to be more conscious about sprinting. Especially when you're like coming around corners or up a ramp or where an enemy could be.
Your team scored.
Zone.
Another spot where no reason to really drop. You give up your stronger power position where you can just shoot down on this guy. And there isn't really a reason to. You could have, let's go back. You could have just as easily just stayed up on that ledge right there. And just shot down at these guys. This guy may have come up behind you, but it's much better to just get that elevation, not just drop down.
Zone. Stronghold Bravo is ours.
Gained the lead.
We've captured Alpha.
All right, so this is actually something that I really love. That use of cover there, you're playing very patiently. This is something that I struggle with a lot of times. A lot of times when I'm pressured and I know there's a guy like rushing me or pushing me, it can be tough for me to just kind of sit behind cover and make him do all the work. A lot of times I'll feel a little panicked and I'll feel like I have to just get out of there and I'll like slide out and then I just give him a free kill. But I love your patient play behind the cover. You make him get to you. You have Josh right here next to you. They can help you out. And you end up getting this kill.
Perforated.
And again, it kind of worked out here because we have both B and C, but just notice where we are on the map. So you had just died in B. We have Josh and Trevor both down basically in B, in the pit of death. That's too much presence in the pit of death, not enough presence in the power positions on the map, especially when we should have map control here. Probably missed all my shots right there. Good cleanup.
Gunfire. Stronghold Charlie. Lost.
All right, again, this is diving out into B for not really any real reason. I think you could have just as easily stayed up in attic and just shot down on this guy. But you kind of have an instinct that I think is leading you into bad positions, which is just kind of diving down into the objective. And in your mind, you're probably thinking like, I gotta help Trevor. I gotta help Black Forge here, so I'm just gonna dive in and get in the brawl with him. But it's so much more valuable to maintain that power position, just be shooting down on this guy, and just to go back a little bit.
Stronghold Charlie. Lost.
When you're up there, you can also be covering the back line. So it's not just the direct guy that Trevor's fighting. I'll pause it here. But you can also be watching like all of this area. All of the back line. So you could be putting shots on this guy. If they have any spawners coming from here or up mid-bridge, this guy, you could be getting shots on all of these guys and not just letting them freely roam around the map. But instead, you kind of just give up the power position and try to get in the brawl with Trevor. Or any of these guys, you could just be getting shots on from up here. And you're relatively safe.
Stronghold Bravo. Lost.
Okay, so yeah, don't pay attention to me. I think I whiff like all my shots right here.
Team scoring.
Just get demolished. And that was a bad grenade. So exactly what I was telling you not to do. Do as I say, not as I do. That was a bad mid-fight grenade where I felt like I was just
Power
losing the
items
fight, so I'm just going to
on
throw a last chance grenade. Bad habit. All right, so yep, another just kind of drop into the pit of death for no real reason. Let's go back and just watch it again.
Power
So we
items
have
on
really, I don't think any real idea of where the enemies are, but they are like looking when we can see through walls, like afterwards. They're in the pit of death. You'll also notice a guy drop behind you. There's another guy that drops. You'll hear his footsteps right next to you. They are all out of position. So we could use that against them. And instead of just dropping into the pit of death, when I realize you don't know that they're all down there, we could be scoping them out from up top, from up in the power positions, the elevated positions.
route.
Instead, we kind of just hand them these kills on a silver platter by dropping in without any intel on where they are. Okay, big issue here. So you probably can see it, but there are way, way, way too many teammates in B, in the pit of death. We basically gave up all of our map control just to take over this pit of death.
Captured Bravo.
And that's not a good
The
sacrifice.
enemy has captured
So
Alpha.
what you can do is, again, not your fault. It's a lot of our faults too, that we're 3 of us in that pit of death. I would try to quickly and sooner realize there's way too much of us committed to a bad position. So the first person to recognize that should leave and try to gain some elevation or gain some kind of map control. Because after that, we have none. Nice shots there. Look at all of us just folding like lawn chairs because we're all kind of out of position. The enemy team has all of the map control. So they've got a guy up like C with snipe. Got a guy watching this window who has good view of most of the map. One of their guys just died down in pit of death. No wonder. And then another guy also kind of down in pit of death, probably panicking because he had some damage. But we're the ones out of position. So I'm panicking here because I'm low. So it's just bad positioning, no map control. And this is kind of what that looks like. Just all of us folding like lawn chairs.
Stronghold Alpha. Lost.
Yeah, it's another one where I would have rather, let's go back and see what you do off spawn. So you hear a guy who's coming out on A and you hear him start to cap it. And you're you can see the decision making in your head of, do I fight this guy off of A or do I pressure B? I think you make the wrong choice here, which again, you go for the pit of death, kind of the worst position to take or to fight for, especially when how many of us are dead? All 3 of us. So you're the only one on the map and you run into the worst position. I would have preferred you jump up A, try to fight that guy, or play your life. Either one of those would have probably been better.
Stronghold Alpha. Lost.
Nice. Great shots. Great use of power positioning. And again, 2 perfects. And I think a lot of that comes from your power position, your angles that you're taking that are a little bit more unexpected. This was their best guy on their team, and you just perfected him. And you perfected their teammate like 5 seconds before that. A lot of that is due because you were up on the power position utilizing that.
Stronghold Charlie is ours. The enemy has captured Bravo.
And look how many of us are down here on B. And we're all just going to, again, fold like lawn chairs because we're giving up all of our map control. Look, we have a triple cap. And we're all down in B. Why? Like it's just bad teamwork. It's bad map control. At the most, in a situation like this, when we have a triple cap, maybe you want 1 guy down to take B, not 3 of us. Again, I like what you're thinking, power position. I probably would have rather seen you, instead of dropping like that once you started getting shot, instead of dropping into B, I would have wanted you to just fall back just fall back into yard, regain your shields once the guy on their sniper tower starts shooting at you. But again, you drop back in the pit of death with where all of us are, and we're all about to just fold like lawn chairs, as you can probably expect.
Your
We've captured Charlie.
Okay, again, this isn't even one that a note that I bookmarked, but we have a triple cap situation again, and look how many of us are down in the pit of death. It's another issue, like another example of that issue where when we have the triple cap, that basically means we should have map control, but we're giving all of that up by spending so much time down here in B, in the worst part of the map.
nearing victory.
Power items incoming. Stronghold Alpha lost.
All 4 of us are down here. Yep, there's fish in a barrel. We gave that to them totally for free.
Enemy team scoring.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another example of the same exact thing. We're just fighting way too much over B, throwing way too many of our lives away. And the remedy to that is basically just prioritize power positions first, prioritize map control, and then OBJ. Instead of just spawning and running to B, which is often going to be the closest point to our spawn. Instead of doing that, prioritize getting a map control, get like attic, sniper, C, any of these windows to your left, any of that is a power position. Being down in B is a death trap. And we spent way too much time down there. So one thing that's evident to me is that your shot is not really the problem here. I think so much more of it is just the positioning. You are out shooting a lot of these guys, which keep in mind, these guys are several levels higher than you. I think you're Platinum 4 at the moment. These guys were mid-diamond. And you are out shooting them when you have the power position. It seems like you are almost on autopilot, and your autopilot is telling you, I need to push the first objective that is closest to me after I spawn. And that won't really get you very far in some of these higher diamond lobbies. You kind of have to approach objectives with a little bit more thought, approaching from a power position, maintaining that power position when you can. Like sometimes, sure, drop in, but try to tackle that power position, create some space for your team first. And then I think you'll have a lot more success. And that's really my main takeaway. And that second game should really illustrate that for you. Hopefully this is helpful for you, but feel free to reach out with any questions. See ya.